The diversity of this wonderful world we live in, the noise, bang, bang, bang up there, and the gentleness of the mantra chanting. And this is the way we live on this earth, constantly bombarded, good and bad, up and down, and how to maintain our sanity in this crazy world we live in, you know? And this is inner wisdom. It's the only way we can maintain our sanity. Otherwise we can't. And if you notice, more and more people today are suffering from panic attacks, lack of self-confidence, fear, because there's so much knowledge out there. Kationa mentioned it last night, even in the field of doing good, you know, there's so many people now trying to do so much good. She goes, you know, and everybody's reaching out there. And even then, it doesn't bring you the peace, because you're thinking, you know, am I really needed amidst all this noise? There's so much going on, so many different, you know, kinds of healing going on. Am I really necessary? Am I just another one? And the truth is, you are absolutely necessary, because you are not just another one looking for commercialism, or looking for fame, or looking for money, or looking for any of that. And I hope all that comes to people like you, because you will make good use of whatever you get. You are looking for, when we develop inner wisdom, there is a sense of peace that nothing else can give you in this life. There is a sense of grace, and this is inner wisdom. And we keep getting caught as human beings all the time in worries about financial worries, money, I can't afford this, or I can't do this. We keep forgetting that the inner wisdom is that we are abundant and we are spirit. And what is more important is the food of love and kindness. The food of love and kindness, because that is really our food. That is really how we survive. That's how we came to be, each supporting the other. And we've just forgotten it. So we are so busy chasing what the world wants us to be like, or what we think we should be like, to find our inner wisdom. Inner wisdom, what is inner wisdom? Where do you get this from? Precisely in yourself. In yourself, in yourself. What makes you feel good? What makes you feel wise? What makes you sit well with yourself at night? What makes you sit well with yourself in this crazy world of noise and sound? And then on the other hand, the mantra. Where do you go? How do you get out of these deep ups and downs? Not easy to do, and the only word is balance. Yes, talk about balance, 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 but how do you find balance? Where is balance? How do you receive balance? And again, that can only come from within you. Because if it doesn't come from within you, living with that 24 hours a day will drive you mad. And this is what's happening to our world today. So many people with panic attacks, stress attacks, because there's no more inner stillness, because there's no outer stillness, because there's no outer silence. The outer silence in this world, and Gibraltar, oh poor Gibraltar, what have they done to you? Is just not, there's no place you can find silence anymore. Everybody is telling me how stressed out they are, and there's, you know, I don't understand, you know, these are happy people, and they're telling me, I don't know why, Nalanie, the joy seems to have gone. I don't know why. I have a good family. Young people. I just don't have that peace inside. I'm so stressed out. And yet, you have a perfect life. So I'm telling them, well, you know, in the olden days, we'd go to work, we'd come home, or even school kids now. I'm getting so many school kids. I said, you know, I remember when I was a teenager, we'd finish school 3, 4 o'clock, we'd do our homework, 5 o'clock, we'd go, take the bus, go to a coffee shop, you know, look at all the good-looking guys and giggle, talk like girls, right? Come home on the bus, be home by 7 for dinner, and we had a simple, beautiful life. And then we would study a little before going to bed and get to bed. And we would, Sundays, we would go out, my family, we would have picnics or go out on a boat, and we would play all day in the garden. And I said, nobody does this anymore. You go home from work and it's WhatsApp, it's the computer, it's the emails, and we feel I have to do it. I think we really need to do something about this now. I think it's getting into dangerous levels now. I think people are getting way too stressed because there's no time to get inner wisdom. You even give your phone a charge and you don't give yourself a charge. Not possible. You know, why am I feeling more tired than usual? And then it came to me, it's these vibrations, it's this technology. And we need to get away from it. We need to step back a little and have time to listen to that wisdom that's constantly within us. You know, listen to that inner voice. More and more, I am seeing people who are also telling me how they feel, what they want to do with their lives, their dreams. They're telling me, but they're not doing it. And I said, well, you've just told me all the things, so why aren't you doing all those things? And again, I don't have time. Okay, why don't you have time? Because even these are with people who don't have children. Huh? Even this is with people, well, when I get home, we get on the computer, we get on the... So you are sacrificing your whole life for a mobile phone. What are you doing with your life? Do you see what I'm saying? We're doing this to ourselves. We're doing this to ourselves. So they have the wisdom, they hear the voice, the inner voice that tells them, live your life like this. But the mental voice is too noisy. There's too much of that going on. Interference. It's just interference. So they don't get the message clearly. So inner wisdom is only developed, unfortunately or fortunately, if you want to keep sane in this mad world, is by having some quiet time or doing stuff like this with your friends, maybe even going out for dinner with them, not talking rubbish, you know, we should buy this or that, or talk about the next, but talk about meaningful things which people don't do anymore, you know, and they come out from a dinner or somewhere they've been and they come out more exhausted or more depressed than when they went out to have a good time. But after talking nonsense, they come back with all the gossip in their head and all the disturbing things, and then they talk more when they come home on the WhatsApp about the same disturbing things that go on for days and days and days. And how can there be inner wisdom in any of this? How can you hear your voice? How can you get on with the job of living? You can't get on with the job of living because we are putting all these barriers in front of ourselves. We are putting the barriers up. Nobody is doing it to us. No God is doing it to us. What God has given us, or light as you want to call it, or love, or energy, what it is giving it to us is the charge in our body. But if we don't charge our bodies and our minds with what we call positive energy, then it's going to wear out. It's going to wear out. We're going to become exhausted. You know, I think I charge my mind with love. I meet wonderful people. So it's nothing to do with people. So I realize it's technology in my life. So I've decided I'm going to cut down. So what decision are you going to make? Are you spending more time with joyful thoughts? Or you just inundated? And even if they're painful thoughts, because life is full of pain, if you take the pain and make use of it in a positive way, then also that is a healing, that is a charge. That's why when you help somebody who is suffering, you do get a charge, don't you? Because what creates that charge when you help somebody who is suffering? We're not really helping them, you're just sharing their sorrow with them or whatever it is. That charge is what we call God or love. And when my brother gave the talk a few months ago, and I was really quite touched when he said, I think it's the one sentence I took in his whole talk, and he said he's very grateful to the people he served because that is the time when he felt most close to God. He felt most close to God. So when we are in a wisdom, service is one of the keys, and not all this noise, unnecessary noise. There's some noise in our life that is necessary, but there's a lot of noise in the brain that is not necessary. And last night we had Michelle, the doctor, not this Michelle, the other Michelle, the doctor, was saying that, she said, doing studies, it's, we were talking about drugs, etc., about ayahuasca and different things. And she said, it's like pulling a mental muscle. You can't. The body is the body, and the mind is the mind. If you give it things too quickly that it can't cope with, or too much, it is like you're pulling a muscle. And I thought that was such a great description, because many times there's nothing wrong with anybody, and say, why am I stressed out? Why am I doing this? It's just that you pulled the muscle. You overdid it, and this is what they call burnout. Right? In most businesses, people, it's a burnout. You've pulled the muscle too much, so you've got panic attacks, you're burnt out. And what's the doctor's advice? Go for a month to rest. But until you don't solve the problem, you will be needing months to rest for the rest of your life. And then you'll say, what's wrong with me? Am I sick? Am I incapable? Why am I constantly feeling that I can't do things? It's because you haven't found your inner wisdom. You have not connected to your battery source. You have not connected to your battery source. And it will not connect you by just talking about it. That will not connect you. You can talk about it, you can read about it. It will not connect you. Yes, it will help, but real connection is you giving yourself the luxury. And when this works, that gives us the charge we need to progress in what we're doing. It gives you the desire and the joie de vivre and the want to continue your practices. Because when you watch yourself, and you see, oh my God, this was really such a bumpy time like this. Yes, and I slipped, but guess what? I stayed afloat throughout it all. I stayed afloat, and I didn't blame anyone. Wow, that's freedom. I didn't blame anyone. Because blaming is exhausting. Did you know that? The most exhausting thing you can do, blame God, blame this, blame that, keep justifying, just defensive, is exhausting. So the inner wisdom is, of course, the hardest thing for any human being to do is acceptance of where you are in time. Because we are in a certain place in time. And if you can't get out of it, you have to go through it. Remember that children's story? Can't go over it, can't go under it, gotta go through it. And of course, when you go through a rough patch, you're going to get scratches, you're going to get bleeding. You're going to get all those things. It's just understanding that it's part of the journey. I mean, do you know what that's inner wisdom? It's not complicated. Inner wisdom is not complicated. So I reach enlightenment, and then suddenly a bird poos on your head and go, bird. You know that story, right? There was a great saint who did that. Where's the wisdom there? And the story about the monk who went 10 years up in a mountain so that he wouldn't, because he was always angry, so that he wouldn't be angry again. So he thought he'd spent 10 years up in the mountain, hidden in a cave. And the moment he comes down after 10 years, do you all know this story? No, okay. The moment he comes down after 10 years, all the villagers, oh my God, he must be a holy man. Spent 10 years alone. He must be a great soul. Yeah. So there's an old man. You know what old people are like? Is it true that you've lost anger? Yes, yes, yes. Pulls his clothes. Is it true you lost anger? Yes. Is it true you lost anger? Oh, shut up, you old man. 3 times, and he didn't lose his anger. Because where is it that we learn? It's here. We cannot run away from ourselves. And then when you do run away, it's only temporary. Because when you come back, there you go all over again with the same problem. And you know, Gurudev tells in the Apostle of Peace his own journey through healing. And I think I learned so much from reading this, you know. And he tells of when he was in India, and you know, he started to develop all these, what we call siddhis, these powers, and he could heal people. And he was staying in a hut for about 6 months. And what happened was every day people would come and feed him. And he did have an incredible magnetism and energy if you met him in this life, and some of us have. Anyway, people would come to his door. And of course, he loved people so much, right? So he wants to heal them. 1 illness, 2 illness, 3 illness. Very happy to do it. People would get better. But what he realized, he said, he realized that he could heal them temporarily. After 3 or 4 months, they come back with the same problem. So he realized that what he was doing is just using his Band-Aid and putting it on them. But they weren't learning to put the healing on themselves. So he stopped it. And instead he started to teach the wonderful science of yoga and live a beautiful life and serve the world that way by teaching this beautiful science. So people could learn to find their own inner wisdom. And what is this inner wisdom? It is a sense of grace, and you can understand, you know, whoever wrote Amazing Grace, the song, certainly understood it. Right? Because just listen to the words of that song. It is, and this is what inner wisdom for me is, this amazing grace. And sometimes this feeling of amazing grace does not happen in your best moments. It actually, for me, has happened in my most painful moments at the time when I most needed it. And there came this waves of bliss. Where did it come from? I was just in my darkest of times. And there was this waves of bliss. How did you come to my body? And then this is the inner wisdom rising up from you because you have bothered to spend this time with me. So now when you need me, I am there for you. And this is amazing grace. And I'm so glad you know it, but it comes from your most painful moments. So don't expect, we never know when it comes. So when you're going through your dark times, all I can say is don't close your doors. And this is what I keep telling people, because in their dark times, what do? They run away. They run away from love, they run away from light, they get angry, they get bitter, and then they go out in the world and pretend they're strong and they can get through it. They try to get over it. They will crash 100%. She laughs. Because you can't pretend to you. And how long can you pretend to the world? Because life would show the truth. Because life always shows the truth. So inner wisdom is learning to trust these great grace that comes within you. It's not judging. Was he judging? He just could see through. Do you see? It's not judging people are good or bad. No. He's just seeing the truth and saying, don't get too excited about this. Not too high, not too low. Just observe and watch. Just observe and watch and learn for yourself. No judgments. But nowadays, in the name of spirit, we have lost this sense of balance and watching, And when we say, okay, watch, this is dangerous. Oh, you're judging the person. I'm not judging anybody. It is dangerous. If a drug is dangerous, it's dangerous. What am I going to say? Oh, it's not dangerous. You're welcome. No. Do you see? We're not weak. We have to be strong. So it's not judging. Judging is when you're evil, you're this, you're that. We don't do that here. But we also need to be truthful. Inner wisdom is listening to the higher truth. Higher truth. What is the highest truth? For me, it's be kind, be good, just live a good life. Peace on earth. Peace on earth, isn't that what we sing? Peace on earth. But how can a peace be peace on earth if you don't have peace within you? So inner wisdom is, I need to sort out my peace. Sometimes peace is not really a high. In fact, it isn't. It's a stillness. It's a quiet. I'm so quiet here up in the roof. Why would I want to go to Morrison's? We say that. So we're so happy here doing nothing. Why would we want to do things sometimes? We say that because it's just like so peaceful in this inner wisdom, in this joy, in this just doing nothing. Just being with that lovely energy. Being with that lovely energy. So inner wisdom is knowing where not to go. What disturbs your peace? What disturbs your balance? That's inner wisdom. Until I'm strong enough, I won't go there. This job is causing me too much of this. What's the point of having money when I use all my savings on the doctor's bill? What's the point? And I've seen thousands of people do that. They go to these jobs that they get, thousands, but they can't even enjoy their holidays. They can't because it's all the time. Then they come back with stress and panic, and then they take all these antidepressants. Then they have to take 3 months off work or 4 months to just come back to a job that they can't stand again, and the whole thing spirals, and they go, why me? Why not you? You just created your own history. Because you spent no time on inner wisdom, on your soul, on your charge, on being, on just being. See, when you get inner wisdom, what happens is then through practice and through a long time, Sri Patanjali doesn't lie to us. That's why I love him so much as a scientist of the mind and soul. He says, you have to practice for a long time. Without a break and with all your heart. And then the wisdom comes. And then you get discriminative discernment. You get and you don't know how you find it. Some people get it through different ways. But listening all the time to what people are saying, and you learn so much. You learn so much about what you want to be like, and so much about what you don't want to be like. And that's really important. You don't need to make the same mistakes somebody else has made. If you can learn from somebody who has taken drugs and what it does to their life, then you don't have to take the drugs. I don't want to go there. If you meet an alcoholic and see how much they suffer and their families suffer, you can say, inner wisdom is, I don't want to go there. I don't want to leave my life making my family suffer and people around me suffer. I'm done. I have a choice. This is inner wisdom. These things happen to us because we have to listen to that voice. But we're too weak So how do you build up your strength? You can only build up your spiritual strength by spending time analyzing yourself first, where you go wrong, and fixing yourself. By fixing yourself, I don't mean you need to fix anything. I really mean that what you are is already inside. By spending time and seeing the diamond in you, instead of wasting time on, a drug or the cigarettes or whatever you're doing. It's not that it's bad, but if it's disturbing your peace, nothing is bad if it doesn't disturb your peace. Got it? You can do anything if it doesn't disturb your peace. But how many people can do that? So if it disturbs your peace and disturbs the peace of your home, then learn, this is disturbing peace. I need to stop this. So everybody's different. Everybody comes from a different place. Know yourself. Know, are you giving good vibrations out, or are you causing disturbance? If you're causing disturbance by your attitudes, don't say, I cannot change, because that's defeatist. That is really giving away your power and your strength and becoming really an idiot, sorry. And I don't believe we're born to be idiots. I believe we are born to be strong, and that we need to awaken this inner wisdom in us. Don't you believe that? We need to just get up and say the truth, and if people like us and don't like us, it doesn't really matter. We have to live for the benefit of what is the highest good for all. Philippa was saying that about her boyfriend. He loves to be truthful. I said, I'd love to meet him. He's straightforward. But what is his aim? To give the best to the students. What a wonderful teacher. I want the best. If people don't like my forward ideas, doesn't matter. The kids need it. And putting the children before his popularity. I love teachers like that. Should we have all teachers like that, please? Because we're in schools and places for the benefit of the children and not for the benefit of a few political moves. Because then we sell ourselves short. Same as doctors or any profession that we belong in. We should, inner wisdom is integrity, honesty, truthfulness. You have seen whatever is not, people, somebody actually told me the other day, somebody new, never coming to this path, really came to me as a patient and said to me, do you know, why is it that all the horrible, not nice people in the world get away with murder and all good people suffer? And I say, who on earth told you that is true? That's a myth. I said, it's an absolute myth, because I have met many people who have seemed to have everything in the world, and they've done horrible things. They have done horrible things. And they look happy on the outside, but when something happens, when they lose a child, or they lose a partner, or they lose some money, or they lose some of their wealth, my goodness, they don't live in a good place. At least, we may have some bad times, but we have the knowledge to go through it. But these people, when they fall so hard. And this is why you hear people, when the stock markets go down, right? What happens? Many of them commit suicide. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes, would you? So it's not true. This is all kind of like myth. Everybody suffers. Good people and bad people. Just like everybody gets the sun. Good people and bad people. So it's not about what people are doing anyway. I said, why are you comparing yourself to the world? Are you happy with your life? Doesn't matter what they do. You will never be able to judge anybody, because you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. So let's find out what's going on behind your closed doors. Don't look at anybody's life. Look at what's going behind your closed doors. Are you really that good? Is your family working well? Are you kind to them? Do you love them? Do you care for others? Do you care for yourself? I ask them a whole lot of questions. And then they have to answer. No, we have this problem and that problem. So what is the way out? If you are shouting at your wife 10 times a day, it's making you sick, it's making you miserable, stop it. It's quite simple. What? Practice not shouting. Every time you're about to say, no, can't, swallow, zip, keep quiet. You can do something about it. You can change your life. It's just a bad habit. And you know it is because you're so unhappy being this horrible person. And then you come and tell me you're a good person. So what are you? Do you see how confused people get? Because he comes, I'm a good person. Then he goes, I make my wife miserable. So what are you, good or bad? Do you see? You're so confused. You don't even know who you are. How are you going to have any peace in the world? So of course I had to introduce, was new to this, introduce a bit of inner search, spending time with yourself, meditating, knowing who you are. I went with jumbo language to them the first time, but even after a little practice of just being with himself, he was able to change his behavior. Some people take fast, some people take long. We cannot predict. All I can say to people is be patient, work on yourself. Time will bring the best in you, because ultimately we are all one, and ultimately we're all diamonds. So we're not really fixing anything. What we're doing is removing the dross that we don't need. We're removing the negative. We're removing, as they say in Yogaville, it's like an onion and you're peeling all, the skin. That's what they say in Yogaville. Isn't it true? Yeah, because that's where I heard the expression first, it's like peeling an onion. Or it's washing your laundry, your inner laundry. We're washing ourselves, that's all, so that the light can shine. That's all we're doing in this yogic practices, nothing more. We're cleaning up our own act. And of course, when you clean up your own act, Gurudev always told us this story. He said, when you put your clothes in a bucket of water and it's dirty, and when you put it the first time, doesn't the water go all black, right? And then he says, what do you have to do? You take the clothes out, you throw the dirty water, you put another pot in, and the second one might be gray, right? Then you throw that away and you put the third water, and if you're lucky the third time, the water's quite white and your clothes are finally clean. But this is what we do with ourselves. We don't seem to give this to ourselves, to awaken our inner wisdom, to talk with ourselves in a gentle, loving way, and scrub ourselves, not to tell ourselves that we are bad, but you know what, I don't need this. Just to say, I don't need to be like this. I can be who I was born to be. I can be joyful. And what's stopping me? All these agitations for years, because I'm not recharging my batteries. Simply, what's recharging my batteries to the world, outside world, is kindness, joy, laughter. Laugh more. Didn't you hear Dr. Mala say? So the brain is stupid. Even if you smile and you don't really mean it, the brain gets the message. Isn't that cool? So sometimes when you go through a trauma and you think you've worked your way through it, and then suddenly for no reason 8 months later you start to cry over it, it's good. It's the debris of the trauma coming out. It's post-traumatic stress, right? PTSD. That's it. And you think you've done it. And of course, all the practices you have, you've managed, you've really gone through it, done all the right things, but that shock does take time. It doesn't mean you're not good at what you do. It doesn't mean that you're not a perfect yogi or anything. It just means you're absolutely human. Thank God for that. We have too many people in human bodies trying to be spiritual beings in a human body and forgetting they have a body. So they're up there all the time and their feet are not grounded on this earth. They talk crazy language, they look half crazed talking about God. What an insult to God. Do not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. I see too many people doing that. And the name of God, I'm so, and really, there's no steadiness, there's no grounding, there's no peace, there's no love. Where is the God? What an insult to God, as if God's a mad person with crazy eyes, drugged out of his mind. It's true, isn't it? You see these people saying all these things and you go, where is the mind, you know? I mean, proof is in the pudding. How do you live your life? Try to live your life not disturbing it too much. Not disturbing. This is inner wisdom. Watch, love what you have, you share. Upanishads. What should the householder do? What is the job of a householder? Learning these great spiritual truths and sharing them. Learning and teaching. Learning and sharing. That's what it says in the Upanishads for us householder. Learn about truth and share it. Learn about love and share it. Whatever you learn, share it. You don't have to be a teacher to share it. In fact, sometimes being a teacher is a drawback because the ego comes in place. You know, it's better to be an ordinary person, and then you can just teach and learn, and you can leave more seeds of goodness wherever you go. Really, that's more important than being a teacher. It's just being a simple human being, leaving seeds of light, and then you can, you can leave it for the future generation. Was it somebody who told me this story about this woman? She was, this is a true story. I don't know if I read it in Reader's Digest or one of you told me. It was about this woman who saw that our world, Mother Nature was being stripped with all the new farming conditions, etc. She saw how trees were being, just stripped off the ground for wood and paper and all this stuff, and for our convenience. So I think this was in the 1940s or something. So she really could foresee all this. So what she did is she bought a huge plot of land, and she just put seeds and started just planting seeds on this huge plot of land. She knew she would never be alive to see all these trees grow. She knew. But she conscientiously did it for future generations. And when she died, they were just little saplings, and now many years later, a whole forest has come up because of this one person. Inner wisdom. She listened to her inner wisdom. So what can I give back to Mother Nature? What can I give back to the world? And that's how she gave it back. And she never saw the good she did, but it didn't matter because she left it here for this earth. And what she did will be there in those grounds forever and ever. Amen. She's left it for the future. So if we cannot think so small-minded just about our future, but think about the future of the world, then a lot of our mind stuff will not dwell in these painful moments that we suffer individually, but will dwell in the benefit of greater things to be and to become, even if they don't happen in our lifetime. It doesn't matter. We is sowing seeds for future generations. And if we don't become the examples of truth knowledge, then real knowledge, the knowledge of living well, then how are the young generation going to learn about integrity, kindness, generosity, if we are not the examples? What kind of examples are most of them getting today? Parents that are shouting and screaming and you have more and I want the designer handbag and you got better than me, and that's what they're seeing. You've got the new iPhone, I haven't got that. That's all they're seeing in homes. They're not seeing, and like sitting on a table and chatting about, oh my God, how was your day, and what is life, and what made a difference to you today, or what do you think is the most useful thing you've done in your life? Do you ask your children these questions? I love to ask people these questions. I can count so many special moments. People say, this is what I don't understand, why people only remember just all the bad moments. I don't understand, because I know there are bad moments, but there's like equally, maybe more good moments for me than have been bad. Yes, the bad ones have been painful, so oh, it seems like it's forever, it doesn't go away. But the joyful ones are there all the time. They're roses on the path continuously, continuously through the bad times. And then when you have the inner wisdom, what happens is in the bad times, you are able to feel that inner grace coming through you. Like I said earlier, you are able to, and that's our saving grace, you can say. It saves us through this lifetime of incredibly diverse happenings. So this is who we are. This is what we are, and we just have to play it well. And with inner wisdom, you can play this life very well. And then when you're living in this inner wisdom, then nothing seems so bad and nothing seems so tragic, because it doesn't end. You see, when life ends, there is this same continuance of love and light. We think our ancestors are gone, but they work through us, and if they're highly elevated, they do spread their energy with us so that they do help us out. Because you see, like I said, when we're in the body, we are contained. We have a container. And when we lose the body, there's no more container. And Gurudeva said, when I die, I can be with all of you, even much more than if I have a body. So don't worry about my body, because I can spread myself. Because what is God but vibration, light, and love, right? It is that. God is vibration, light, and love. And that's why we love music, and that's why we love mantras, and that's to make our vibration. And that's why when our vibration is high, we feel drunk with joy, because it's vibration. And that's why when we love unconditionally, without fear of what people think of us or not, do the best we can, that's all we do. That's why we can be on that field and connect with God. And that's why when we're not in that field, or in that high vibration, we cannot connect. So you see why we need to connect, and why we need to have our inner wisdom for that connection. So study a lot, read a lot first, and then leave the books, and then sit with all the wisdom the knowledge you gain. Put the books aside, or like we did yesterday, intense work, and then go home and spend some quiet time and mull over it first. Get into all yourself. Because if you hear and go, and then you don't do that, you go back home with all your problems instead of thinking of what you heard, what happens is you dilute the knowledge. So you need to go home, sit, think it over, have some quiet time by yourself, let it get into your cells, and then it becomes your knowledge, because you will take what you can easily digest, and what you can't doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, not meant for you, and what you don't agree is not meant for you. But what you can easily digest will go deep inside, and then it when you need it, it's there. That's why in the beginning we study a lot, and then after that we don't need to study so much. We just need to, the knowledge is inside. That's why I keep repeating again and again and again. Why? Like Dr. Mala said, grooves in the brain. You say, oh, she's going to say the same thing again, because the truth is simple. The truth never changes. It never changes. And in fact, if we just had to say 3 words, truth, knowledge, bliss, or love, light, and vibration, that's it. And then we just need to live in love. We just need to keep our vibration high and keep ourselves light and happy. We got it. That's it. Don't have to do anything else with our lives. But it takes so long for those messages to sink deeply into our psyche. That's all. Because we live in such a material world that is so noisy. So make time for your inner world.